Welcome everyone to our electronic council meeting. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, Regional Council is practicing physical distancing and the majority of councillors are participating electronically. In an attempt to speed things up, we have assigned a mover and a seconder, and I will state the result of the vote. I'd like to start this meeting with an acknowledgement that I would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the land traditionally used by the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Neutral people. I'd also acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today. I would now ask, Leanne, are you doing the roll call? Ms. Fletcher to do the roll call.
Chair Redmond.
Here.
Councillor Armstrong.
Here.
Councillor Clark.
Here.
Councillor Erb.
Here.
Councillor Foxton.
Here.
Councillor Galloway.
Here.
Councillor Harris.
Present.
Councillor
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Councillor Jowett.
Here.
Councillor Kiefer.
Here.
Councillor Lorentz.
Present.
Councillor McGarry.
Here.
Councillor Nowak.
Here.
Councillor Shantz.
Here.
Councillor Strickland.
Here.
Councillor Verbanovich.
Here.
All present.
Thank you, Ms. Fletcher. I will now entertain a motion to reconvene in open session. This is moved by Councillor Galloway and seconded by Councillor Harris. Please use your yes and no buttons to vote. That is carried. Thank you, colleagues. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? I see none. There are no presentations, petitions. We have no registered delegations. The minutes from the previous meeting. We'll now have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meetings as listed. Are there any comments on the minutes? This is moved by Councillor Jaworski and seconded by Councillor Jowett. Seeing no questions, would you please use your icons to vote yes or no? Carried. That is carried. Thank you, colleagues. Communication, there was council had an information package October the 7th that was distributed electronically. These are for your information. If anyone would like to highlight something or has a question, now is your opportunity. Seeing none, we would now have a motion to go into Committee of the Whole to consider reports. This is moved by Councillor Kiefer and seconded by Councillor Lorentz. Please use your yes and no buttons. The motion is that Council go into the Committee of the Whole to consider reports. That is carried. We now have one motion to accept both the finance reports. If anyone has any comments, please raise their hands. This motion is now moved by Councillor McGarry and seconded by Councillor Nowak. You have them listed before you. I see no questions, so please use your yes and no buttons to vote for the Finance Committee. That is carried. We now have a vote to accept the Committee of the Whole summary. This is moved by Councillor Clark and seconded by Councillor Verbanovich. You have them listed before you. See no questions, so please use your icons to vote yes and no. That is carried. Any report from the Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Lochner?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I just wanted to acknowledge the trying times that our community is going through, particularly those who have lost their jobs, those who are unsheltered, those who are trying to look after loved ones who are sick, those who are worried about their jobs. And I reflect back on my former organization and leading Wave 1 for Western Ontario, and I have to say I'm really grateful for the staff here at the region in public health our first responders, the doctors and nurses and PSWs on the front lines, our area municipalities, the business sector, and more. This community has come together like I've never seen it. And I can't imagine what it would be like without those partnerships that were built over many, many years, not just to keep us afloat, but to keep going and keeping or building this community to make it as strong as we possibly can. So I just wanted to acknowledge that through you, Madam Chair. People are, I think, a little tired, a little exhausted with all of this, and there is some glimmer of hope. It's not all good news, but we're certainly getting more wins than losses. So kudos to the community and all the residents who are stepping up once again to fight this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I guess I would just reflect on those comments and tell you that Councillors Kiefer and Mayor Shantz and I had the privilege of being at the Waterloo Regional Police Services Board earlier today, and it really highlighted the number of partnerships that the police services are delivering services to the 600,000 people we all represent. And the partnerships were outstanding. There was the Impact program, which was highlighted, which is police officers who team up with social workers 7 days a week to go into domestic dispute calls as well as wellness calls. And there is a wonderful partnership through Horizon with partner violence. So in very many innovative ways, Waterloo Regional Police Services are addressing a lot of needs. And there is no doubt that we hear throughout the community that mental health is an ongoing concern. So we're all trying to address it as a community, because it's not anything I think one agency or one level of government can do on its own. The regional clerk, composition review, selection of final options. We have the report before us. This is moved by Councillor Shantz and seconded by Councillor Strickland. Mrs. Fletcher, do you want to speak to it?
Just to say that this is the next step in our council composition review process. And so hopefully with the passage of this particular motion, we will then start down the path of trying to garner the triple majority. So this is the option that is going forward to obtain that triple majority. And it's been a bit of a process to get here, but we have arrived, and we still have timelines that we need to meet from a provincial point of view.
Thank you. So, colleagues, you have the recommendation before you that the Region of Waterloo declares its intention to pass a resolution to affirm the current composition of Regional Council, being a 16-member council consisting of one regional chair, 7 mayors, 2 Cambridge councillors, 4 Kitchener councillors, and 2 Waterloo councillors, in accordance with Section 21B, bracket 6 of the Municipal Act on November 25th, 2020. And B, that the area municipal councils be requested to pass a resolution consenting to the current composition of regional council for the purposes of fulfilling the triple majority outlined in the report, dated October 14th, 2020. Councillor Bravanovich.
Thank you, Chair Redmond. Just a quick question of Ms. Fletcher. It's my understanding, well, not all councils have taken a formal position yet. The majority have, and that and that majority also sort of took a position that already is in line with this. So do we not already have the triple majority completed?
It sounds a little bit like one of those books you got in high school to sort of cheat the process and find out what Shakespeare was saying without reading the novel. I think they're called Cole's Notes, but I'll turn it over to Mrs. Fletcher.
They're called Fletcher Notes at the region. No.
So the material that we got previously, we would say is a reflection of the public consultation process over options, not necessarily the final decision of any council. So in order to achieve the triple majority, I have recommended and will continue to recommend that we now need that clarified from the area municipalities as we move forward. So I would say the final decision has not been rendered by municipalities, but they gave us information with respect to the public consultation process.
Councillor Vanovic?
Oh, Okay, I'll leave it at that then. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Armstrong.
Sorry, I was all prepared to vote.
Sorry, I will move faster, Councillor Armstrong. I see no further discussion, so I would ask everybody to please use their icons to vote yes or no for this motion. That is carried. Mrs. Fletcher, this will obviously be presented to local area regional council councils to vote on. What's the timeline?
The intent is that there's now an approximately 4-week time frame for them to get back to us so we can deal with this on our late November council meeting, which is the 25th.
Thank you. And I don't know if Mr. Williams is still in the meeting. Councillor Foxton.
Thank you. Have the municipalities been notified of the time frame, and have they been put on their calendars?
I'm seeing a nodding head here. Yes, they have.
Thank you.
And if Mr. Williams is still in the meeting, I want to thank him for his input and guidance on this. It's wonderful to have that kind of knowledgeable eminence locally. So thank you, Bob, for helping us through this process.
My pleasure, Chair Redmond.
Oh, there you are.
I am here.
Thank you so much for helping us through this process.
Good.
Other matters under Committee of the Whole, a motion for the Committee of Whole to rise and Council to resume. And this is moved by Councillor Clark and seconded by Councillor Erb. And the Committee of the Whole rise and Council resume. I would ask you to use your voting icons. That is carried. Thank you, colleagues. A motion to adopt the proceedings of the Committee of the Whole. This is moved by Councillor Harris and seconded by Councillor Jaworski. I'd ask you to use your yes and no buttons to vote. That is carried. Thank you. We have no motions, notice of motions, any unfinished business? Other business? Are there any items to bring forward, colleagues? Seeing none, are there any questions? I would now entertain a motion to enact the bylaws first, second, and third readings. This is moved by Councillor Jowett and seconded by Councillor Kiefer, that a bylaw to confirm actions of this council October 14th, 2020 now be voted on. So please use your voting icons. That is carried. I would now entertain a motion to adjourn. This is moved by Councillor Rentz and seconded by Councillor McGarry. This will be wildly popular, no doubt. Please use your voting icons. That is carried. Thank you, colleagues. This meeting is adjourned. Stay well and have a great evening.
Stay safe, my friends.